Welcome. What you are about to watch is not science fiction, and it is not folklore. It is a serious investigation into one of history's most compelling unresolved questions, the mystery of Planet 9, the hidden planet that's warping the outer solar system. Across the world, in universities, research institutes, and field excavations, serious scholars are wrestling with evidence that does not fit the accepted story. Evidence that has been documented, measured, and peer-reviewed, and that still has no satisfying conventional explanation. We are going to look at that evidence carefully, without prejudice in either direction. Not dismissing what is extraordinary, but not accepting it without scrutiny either. The truth, as always, is in the details. In 2016, astronomers Konstantin and Mike Brown of Caltech published a paper arguing that the bizarre clustered orbits of 6 trans-Neptunian objects could only be explained by the gravitational influence of an unseen planet, roughly 10 times the mass of Earth, 20 times farther from the Sun than Neptune, taking 10,000 to 20,000 years to complete a single orbit. They called it Planet 9. It has not been found yet. Mike Brown is the astronomer who discovered Eris, the dwarf planet whose existence triggered Pluto's reclassification. He has formed for finding things in the outer solar system that everyone else missed. Batygin is a theoretical physicist. Their 2016 paper survived peer review and has not been retracted. 7 years later, the predicted location has been searched with multiple large telescopes. Nothing has been found. Is Planet 9 real? Could it be something other than a planet? And what does its absence from our sky tell us about the limits of what we can see? In 2020, 2 physicists proposed that Planet 9 might be a primordial black hole, a relic of the early universe, the mass of 5 Earths compressed to the size of a grapefruit, invisible to any optical survey. The paper was peer-reviewed and not dismissed. The Vera Rubin Observatory, now operational, should settle the question within a decade. Something is warping the outer solar system. We do not yet know what. This is where our investigation begins. Stay with us, because the further we go into the evidence, the more extraordinary it becomes. The story you think you know is only the surface. Beneath it lies something far more remarkable. Let us begin. Before we examine the specific evidence, we need to step back and understand the context. This case does not exist in isolation. It sits within the expanding frontier of unexplained cosmic phenomena, and to properly evaluate what we are looking at, we need to understand the broader picture that surrounds it. The scale of the universe is so far beyond ordinary intuition that even physicists struggle to hold it in mind. The observable universe contains an estimated 2 trillion galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars. The Milky Way alone has between 100 and 400 billion stars. Conservative estimates suggest that 1 in 5 of those stars has a planet in the habitable zone, the orbital range at which liquid water can exist on the surface. That gives our galaxy alone somewhere between 20 and 80 billion potentially habitable worlds. Against those numbers, the claim that Earth is the only planet to have produced intelligent life seems extraordinary. The statistical argument for extraterrestrial life is almost overwhelming, and yet we have no confirmed contact, no artifact, no verifiable signal. The contrast between the mathematical expectation of abundant life and the apparent emptiness of the cosmos is the Fermi paradox, and it is one of the deepest unsolved problems in science. The paradox has generated dozens of proposed solutions. From the Great Filter hypothesis, some catastrophic barrier prevents civilizations from becoming spacefaring, to the zoo hypothesis, they are watching us but not yet making contact, to the simulation argument, the universe we observe is itself an artifact. None of these has been confirmed. All of them have troubling implications. The Fermi paradox is not a curiosity. It may be the most important question the human species has ever faced. This context matters because it tells us something important. What we are about to investigate is not an isolated curiosity. It is part of a pattern that researchers in multiple fields have been independently documenting for decades, and patterns in science demand explanation. With that foundation in place, Let us now turn to the specific case at hand. Now we reach the heart of the matter, the core evidence surrounding Planet 9. The hidden planet that's warping the outer solar system is more extensive, more verified, and more troubling for conventional explanations than most people realize. Let us walk through it systematically, fact by fact, and allow the evidence to speak for itself. We are not going to speculate here. Every point that follows is documented in peer-reviewed publications, official archaeological records, or government archives that are publicly accessible. The question is not whether these facts are real. Question is what they mean. Consider this first extraordinary detail. Batygin and Brown published their Planet 9 hypothesis in January 2016 in the Astronomical Journal, presenting statistical analysis of 6 trans-Neptunian objects, TNO, whose orbital parameters, inclination, argument of perihelion, and longitude of ascending node cluster in a configuration they calculated had a probability of approximately 1 in 10,000 of occurring by chance. They argued the clustering indicated gravitational shepherding by an unseen body. This single data point, if taken in isolation, might be set aside. Anomalies happen, instruments malfunction, researchers make mistakes, but as we continue, you will see that this is not an isolated anomaly. It is part of a consistent and documented pattern. But that is only the beginning. Researchers also discovered Planet 9 is estimated to have a mass of approximately 5 to 10 times that of Earth, making it a super-Earth or sub-Neptune class object rather than a gas giant. Its estimated orbital period of 10,000 to 20,000 years places it at approximately 400 to 800 astronomical units from the Sun, so remote that reflected sunlight would be extraordinarily faint, explaining why it has not been found by optical surveys conducted to date. Now, a skeptic might propose an alternative explanation for this, and that is entirely reasonable. We should always test alternative explanations before accepting extraordinary ones. The problem is that the alternative explanations, when examined carefully, create more problems than they solve. The mystery deepens when we examine Sedna, discovered by Brown in 2003, was the object that first suggested the existence of an outer perturber. Sedna's highly elliptical orbit takes it to a maximum distance of 937 from the Sun and has a perihelion, its closest approach, of 76 well beyond Neptune's gravitational influence. No known solar system body or process fully explains Sedna's orbit without invoking either a passing star, a Planet 9 analog, or a primordial disk of objects that has since dispersed. This is where the conventional account begins to strain. Each individual fact might be dismissed or minimized in isolation, but the cumulative weight of the evidence is another matter entirely. Perhaps most remarkable of all, Anne-Marie Madigan of the University of Colorado proposed an alternative to Planet 9 in 2018. Collective self-gravity among a disk of TNOs could produce the observed orbital clustering through a process she called inclination instability. This mechanism does not require a massive planet and is mathematically rigorous. Batygin and Brown have responded that the required disk mass is too high to be consistent with other observations, but the debate between the two models remains scientifically active. Researchers who have examined this evidence have described it as genuinely difficult to explain within the accepted framework. These are not fringe commentators. They are credentialed academics publishing in mainstream journals, raising questions that the field has not yet satisfactorily answered. Then there is the matter of Scholz and Unwin published a paper in 2020 proposing that Planet 9 might not be a planet at all but a primordial black hole, a relic of the early universe, with a mass of approximately 5 Earth masses. A black hole of this mass would be approximately the size of a grapefruit, invisible to optical telescopes, but detectable through gravitational microlensing of background stars or through scattering of Oort cloud objects. The paper received serious scientific attention and is not considered fringe. What makes this particularly significant is its independence from the previous points. This is not a case of one theory requiring another. These are separate lines of evidence converging on the same uncomfortable conclusion. Adding to the enigma is this finding. The Vera Rubin Observatory, formerly LSSD, the Legacy Survey of Space and Time, achieved first light in 2024 and began science operations in 2025. It is the primary instrument expected to either discover Planet 9 or rule it out within its first decade of operation. The observatory surveys the entire visible sky every 3 nights to unprecedented depth, and its TNO detection rate is expected to increase the known outer solar system population by an order of magnitude. Taken together, these facts form a pattern that cannot be explained by coincidence, misidentification, or methodological error. Each piece of evidence has been examined by skeptics. Each has been subjected to alternative explanations. And in each case, the alternative explanation falls short of accounting for everything that has been documented. We are left with a body of evidence that demands explanation and an accepted narrative that does not provide one. This is where serious inquiry begins. Now that we have established the evidence, we need to examine the theories that researchers have proposed to explain Planet 9, the hidden planet that's warping the outer solar system. This is where the debate becomes most intense, because the theories reflect not just different interpretations of the same evidence, but fundamentally different assumptions about what is possible and what the past looked like. Understanding these theories is not just an academic exercise. Each one has been championed by serious researchers with genuine credentials, and each one captures something that the others miss. The truth, if it is ever established, will likely draw on elements of several. The first major explanation proposed by researchers holds that Batygin and Brown maintain that Planet 9 is a real super-Earth at 400 to 800, whose gravity is causing the observed orbital clustering of trans-Neptunian objects. They have refined their predictions with additional TNO data in subsequent papers. The main objection is observational. The predicted location has been searched with multiple major telescopes, and the planet has not been found, which increasingly constrains its possible size and location. This interpretation has significant academic support and is backed by substantial evidence, but it is not without problems. Critics point out that it requires assumptions that go beyond what the evidence strictly supports, and that key predictions of this theory have not been confirmed by subsequent research. It remains contested, and the contest is productive. A rival school of thought argues that Anne-Marie Madigan's inclination instability model argues that a massive disk of trans-Neptunian objects, not a single planet, produces the observed orbital clustering through collective self-gravity. This model requires no undiscovered planet. The main objection from Planet 9 proponents is that the disk mass required by Madigan's model is inconsistent with observational constraints on the outer solar system's total mass. This theory is controversial, and deliberately so. Its proponents argue that the evidence demands an explanation outside the conventional framework. Critics counter that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and that the evidence presented, while suggestive, does not yet meet that standard. The debate continues in peer-reviewed literature. Perhaps the most unconventional theory suggests that Scholz and Unwin's primordial black hole hypothesis proposes that Planet 9 is a compact dark object rather than a planet, explaining why extensive optical searches have found nothing. The hypothesis is testable through microlensing surveys and through looking for anomalous Oort cloud object scattering. The main objection is that primordial black holes of this mass are theoretically possible, but have not been confirmed to exist in any context. What is striking about this debate is not merely that experts disagree. That is normal and healthy in science. What is striking is the quality of the disagreement. Serious researchers, working from the same body of evidence, reaching genuinely different conclusions. That level of fundamental disagreement, when it persists over decades, is a signal that something important has not yet been understood. The question is not which of these theories is right. The question is whether any of them is right, or whether the truth is something that none of the current frameworks has yet been able to capture. The case surrounding Planet 9, the hidden planet that's warping the outer solar system, does not rest on speculation alone. What distinguishes this investigation from pure mythology is the existence of documented, physical, verifiable evidence, material that has been examined by credentialed researchers and whose authenticity is not seriously disputed. What is disputed is its interpretation. Let us review the most significant documented evidence as objectively as possible. We are not going to cherry-pick the data that supports a preferred conclusion. We are going to lay out what exists and let you draw your own assessment. Physical evidence supporting this account includes the statistical case for Planet 9 rests on the orbital clustering of TNOs. Batygin and Brown's original 2016 analysis of 6 objects gave a 1 in 10,000 probability for random clustering. Subsequent additions to the TNO catalog have produced mixed results. Some new TNOs fall within the predicted clustering pattern, strengthening the case. Others do not cluster as expected. Observational bias, the tendency to find objects in regions of sky that have been searched, has been addressed but not fully resolved as a confounding factor. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. Investigators have documented the absence of Planet 9, despite significant telescopic search, is itself informative. Each negative result constrains the planet's possible brightness, and therefore its size and distance more tightly. Current non-detections are consistent with Planet 9 existing at the farther end of its predicted distance range, closer to 800 than 400, and possibly being smaller than the upper end of the mass estimate, making it fainter than surveys conducted to date can reliably detect. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. On-site analysis revealed Vera Rubin Observatory's 2024-2025 commissioning data has already produced new TNO detections. The full science survey is expected to find thousands of new trans-Neptunian objects, dramatically expanding the orbital dataset. If Planet 9 exists and is causing orbital clustering, the much larger and more complete TNO sample from Vera Rubin will either confirm the clustering signal or reveal it as a statistical artifact of incomplete prior sampling, providing a near-definitive answer within the next decade. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. Each individual piece of evidence might, in principle, be explained away. A single anomalous artifact might be misidentified. A single anomalous date might reflect contamination. A single anomalous eyewitness account might reflect misperception. The question is whether all of the evidence can be explained away, and whether the explanations required are more or less plausible than the evidence itself. When multiple independent lines of inquiry converge on the same conclusion, that convergence is the most powerful signal in empirical science. And that is exactly what we are seeing here. We have examined the history, the evidence, and the theories surrounding Planet 9, the hidden planet that's warping the outer solar system. Now we need to ask the question that is sometimes overlooked in discussions of ancient mysteries. Why does this matter? What does it mean for us today? It would be easy to file this away as an interesting historical curiosity, a puzzle from a distant past with no bearing on our present lives. That would be a fundamental mistake. The questions raised by this case touch on issues that are directly relevant to who we are, where we came from, and what the human story actually looks like before the period covered by conventional history. Batygin and Brown continue to publish refined Planet 9 predictions as new TNO data becomes available. The Vera Rubin Observatory, operational from 2025, is expected to resolve the question within a decade. Scholz and Unwin's primordial black hole alternative is being tested by microlensing programs. If Planet 9 is found, it would be the first new major planet discovered since Neptune in 1846 and would fundamentally revise our model of solar system formation. If the Vera Rubin survey rules it out, the focus will shift to alternative explanations for the TNO clustering, either Batygin's self-gravity model or a revised understanding of observational bias in outer solar system surveys. Furthermore, the tools available to investigate these questions are advancing rapidly. Satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, ancient DNA analysis, isotopic tracing, and deep-sea sonar are all providing capabilities that previous generations of researchers could only dream of. Cases that were genuinely unresolvable 10 years ago are now open to new analysis, and the findings, consistently, are expanding rather than contracting the mystery. The investigation continues. New discoveries are being made. New analyses are being published. New voices are entering the conversation from disciplines that were not previously part of the discussion. The answers, when they come, and they will come, will not merely solve a historical puzzle. They will force a fundamental revision of assumptions that underpin our entire understanding of human history and human potential. We have now walked through the complete case of Planet 9, the hidden planet that's warping the outer solar system, from the historical record through the physical evidence across the competing theories and into the modern significance of what remains unresolved. What the story of Planet 9 ultimately reveals is not just a historical puzzle. It is a mirror. It reflects our assumptions back at us, our assumptions about what ancient people were capable of, about how knowledge is gained and lost across the centuries, and about the relationship between what we know and what we merely think we know. The evidence presented in this documentary is real. The questions it raises are genuine. The debate among researchers is ongoing, and that is healthy. Science is not a set of conclusions. It is a process. And the process requires that we remain open to evidence that challenges what we thought we knew, however uncomfortable that challenge might be. If you came to this documentary as a skeptic, we hope the evidence gave you something to think about. If you came as a true believer, we hope the critical examination gave you a more nuanced picture. The truth, as always, lies in the evidence, not in what we want to be true. Thank you for watching. If this investigation sparked your curiosity, please subscribe to the channel. We publish new documentaries every week, covering the full range of historical mysteries that the mainstream has not yet adequately explained. Leave a comment below telling us which case you want us to investigate next. The conversation continues. The investigation never ends.